This is the newsroom for Tuesday, May 4th, 2021. We're broadcasting to you on E1, Scar TV, NTN, and Tarzi TV in Bartica. In the headlines, a teenager is charged in connection with the brutal murder of her sister, Shauna Dover, while the father of the prime suspect is released from police custody. Bogus travel agents have until June to become licensed.
Ensure that you're in compliance, and in the airline industry, they say let's take off, because Guyana is going places.
The Labor Ministry moves to enforce stricter regulations for high-rise buildings, as 7 workplace deaths are recorded for the year thus far.
My position is clear on this matter, that you have to follow the law.
The government donates streetlights to Sophia in a bid to reduce crime, and the Sport Ministry makes financial commitment for the restart of Independence 3-stage cycling, and national table tennis player Miguel Wang qualifies for Junior Pan Am Games. With the news, I'm Fariza Hanif. We're glad you can join us. The 15-year-old implicated in the Linden shallow grave murder of her sister Shauna Dover on Tuesday afternoon appeared at the Linden Magistrates Court, charged with accessory after the fact. Shakima Day joins us.
The teenager appeared before Magistrate Wanda Fortune and was not required to plead to the indictable charge of accessory after the fact of murder. She is implicated in the murder of her sister Shauna Dover, whose decomposed body was found in a sitting position in a shallow grave in the backyard of her fiancé Shaquan Allen's house at Campus City, Wismar, Linden on April 30th. Dover was reported missing on April 3rd. The 15-year-old was represented by attorneys at law Dexter Todd and Dexter Smart. No bail was sought by the teen's legal counsel, and she was remanded to the Sophia Juvenile Holding Center until May 28, 2021, when she is due to make her next court appearance. When contacted, Todd told the newsroom that the teen expressed fear of being released into the custody of her parents. As such, an application was made by her lawyers for her to be placed into protective custody. However, when the magistrate inquired whether such a facility was available, she was told no. As such, the magistrate determined that the best place for her to be is at the holding center until such a facility is made available. A post-mortem examination found that the woman died as a result of a single gunshot injury to the head. The pathologist, Dr. Nihal Singh, extracted 3 ribs from the body, which will be taken to the Guyana Forensic Science Laboratory, where they will be analyzed for genetic identification. The newsroom previously reported that Dover's 15-year-old sister confessed to detectives that she saw when Allen shot and killed her on the night of April 3rd, and then later buried her in the backyard of his house. But the numerous Facebook posts made by Allen following the young woman's disappearance made it seem otherwise. He was even involved in numerous search parties for her. Meanwhile, police have since issued a wanted bulletin for Allen called Isway. It is believed he escaped to French Guyana. For the newsroom, I am Shakima Day.
Meanwhile, the father of murder suspect Shaquan Allen was released from police custody on Tuesday morning, 4 days after he was arrested for his alleged involvement in the murder of 20-year-old Shauna Dover. The older Allen was arrested on Friday last, moments after Dover's body was found buried in a sitting position in the backyard of his son's Canvas City Wismar Linden house. The newsroom understands that the police investigators sought advice on possible charges from the Director of Public Prosecutions for both the 15-year-old sister of Dover and the older Allen. While the DPP recommended charges for the teenager, no charges were recommended for the father. Instead, the DPP has reportedly asked police detectives to conduct further investigations. While the older Allen was allegedly informed by his son of the murder, he was reportedly not present when the body was buried. We tell you now that 3 more persons who tested positive for COVID-19 have succumbed to the disease, taking Guyana's overall death toll since March 2020 to 306. The latest fatalities are a 66-year-old man and a 47-year-old man, along with a 77-year-old female, all of Region 4. They all died while receiving care at a medical facility on May 3rd. This takes the death toll from May to 6 thus far. Importantly, with the addition of the deaths reported Tuesday, there have now been 106 deaths recorded over the past 2 months. In April alone, which is recorded as the deadliest month of the pandemic, with 65 persons lost their lives. Unlicensed travel agents in Guyana have been given 1 month to become compliant with the requirement of the Sale of Travel Tickets Act of 1985. The act mandates that travel agents must be licensed to sell tickets. The Ministry of Public Works have placed those agents who are in default of the act on notice that they have 30 days, effective May 6, to comply with the requisite legislation. Here's Kurt Campbell.
Minister of Public Works Juan Edgell on Monday hinted that he intends to use powers legally conferred on him to operationalize regulations for persons who operate as travel service agents in the local services and aviation industry. During a meeting at the Arthur Chang Conference Center, Edgell said since he became a minister in August 2020, he has received a number of complaints from the traveling public which directly target the operations of travel agents. 1 day after, unlicensed travel agents have been asked to get their house in order within the next 30 days. Edgell said on Monday that more recently the complaints he has received surrounds timely and full cash refunds to deserving customers. The minister offered his appreciation for the role travel agents play in making travel safe, but noted that it has become necessary to put regulations in place. He said the regulations are necessitated by the vagueness of the legal architecture that governs the sector, the mounting complaints, and the need to raise standards as Guyana prepares for its economic takeoff from the oil and gas industry.
So you're not just a little business in a cubicle somewhere. You're a service industry. You provide necessary service to the traveling public, and we want to ensure that you do so in a regulated manner. We want to ensure that you do so in a framework that is good for you, your business, and your customers. We want to ensure that you do so in an environment where the rights of consumers are also protected, and we want to do so optimizing what we have and ensuring that we meet international standards.
Edgell recalled discussions on regulating the sector which commenced in 2019 by his predecessor. He said he would like to pick up on those discussions with the aim of operationalizing those regulations through a joint effort. Edgell believes that the regulations are more important now than ever because of the new environment that travel agents will have to operate in as Guyana expands.
Guyana is on the rise. And the fact that Guyana is on the rise, we got to look at all the players at all levels and ensure that we're getting up to speed. So if I can give you some words of encouragement, up your game, expand your network, ensure that you're in compliance. And in the airline industry, they say, let's take off, because Guyana is going places.
On the issue of refunds, the minister sought to find out why travel agents were not making the full refunds to customers. He was told by the travel agents that in some cases the airlines do not give the full refund. But more importantly, agents claim that a standard US $25 is usually deducted as a service charge for the refund process. This is in addition to the deducted service charge which is paid at the time of purchase, although not all agents do this deduction. The agents were adamant that refund must carry a penalty because of their need to honor banking fees, pay staff, and take care of other financial obligations, particularly in this era of COVID-19 and the impact it has had on the travel industry. There were several explanations proffered on the refund issue, with the minister once again underscoring the need for a regulated sector that can be unified on these issues.
With Guyana recording 7 worksite deaths so far for 2021, the Labor Ministry will be enforcing stricter measures for private businesses and public entities to ensure that there is complete compliance with occupational health and safety regulations. Shikima Day tells us more.
The latest death to occur at a work site was on April 28 when Lloyd Feroz, a laborer of Sisters Village, West Coast, Demerara, fell to his death from the 4th floor of a building under construction on Regent Street, Georgetown. The Labour Minister, Joseph Hamilton, who spoke to the newsroom on Tuesday, highlighted that construction, whether the contractors are equipped with the requisite safety gears to protect.
But my position is clear on this matter, that everyone has to follow the law. I could care less what issues are clear to the officers, whether Labour officer or OSH officer, what they must do.
The minister explained that while the building is owned by Bina Lal, the contractor who hired HS officers, that safety gears were purchased for workers, but they were not put to the regulations, with special emphasis being placed on those high-rise buildings, as those are expected to increase as Guyana expands.
If we are at 6 stories now, and we are having funerals, imagine when we start to go to 10 stories. And my position is this. The nation, we have 2 choices. I have said this and I will keep repeating. It is either we pay attention to safe work, or we decide we will go funerals and we will go wake houses and play dominoes and cards. We have to decide. It's simple as that. I would prefer that we pay attention to safe work so that we don't have to bury people. Because Hamilton don't want to continue to be the death announcement bureau.
A meeting is expected to be held very soon with several businesses and stakeholders for the ministry's National Safety Planning Program to address issues related to the matter at hand. For the newsroom, I am Shikima Day.
15 persons were arrested and released on bail in Bartica on Monday for not wearing a face mask. It comes as the joint services ramp up its enforcement activities in an attempt to clamp down on persons who continue to disregard the gazetted COVID-19 guidelines. Police said in a statement that the enforcement exercise was conducted between 19 hours and midnight. The 15 persons were released on $5,000 bail. Meanwhile, several shops and liquor restaurants were visited and they were observed to be closed in keeping with the COVID-19 guidelines. When the newsroom returns, the government donates streetlights to Sophia in a bid to reduce crime, and engineers explore the possibility of making Hunter Street a 3-lane road. You're watching the newsroom. The government on Tuesday gave 20 solar streetlights to residents of Sophia, Greater Georgetown. The lights will be installed in the coming days at strategic locations across the community with the intent of fighting crime. The government has also promised more support for Sophia and other communities across the country. Kurt Campbell reports.
This would work well in this time that we are facing right now.
Seen as a promise fulfilled and as part of a series of direct intervention by central government in communities across Sophia, Greater Georgetown, some 20 street lights will soon be installed between fields A to E. Residents were in high praise on Tuesday as they received the solar-powered lights from Minister of Local Government and Regional Development, Nigel Darmlal. The minister explained that the lights were requested by the residents during one of his recent outreaches in the area. He had made a commitment to provide the street lights.
The commitment has been made and we are playing our part to move this process forward. We look forward to your support. We would like to work with you to enhance your lives. When we were here the last time, you said that crime was one of the big issues. Every field I went to, they raised that matter, that crime is affecting Sophia. Sometimes those who are alien to Sophia think that there is no crime here, but as a matter of fact, this is probably the epicenter of the crime.
Residents believe that with the installation of these lights, 4 in each field, it will go a far way in deterring criminal activity. Declaring that more support will come directly from central government to Sophia, the minister said a series of other interventions were already made in the community. It includes the employment of 20 community enhancement workers on a monthly stipend of $35,000. These community enhancement workers will work a total of 8 full days and will be responsible for ensuring the maintenance of drainage and community facilities. President Irfan Ali had also committed to building a pavilion in Seafield, which was also completed, along with several ongoing infrastructural works and social services. Darmlal encouraged the residents to reform their community policing groups and form new community development groups through which the government can work to steer development in the community.
You're aware the commitment of His Excellency the President is that we will work in all communities. Georgetown, of which Sophia is an integral part, is one of those communities that we will work in. our intention is to do much more. As I've always been saying in the last 8 months and more of us being in government, that in communities we will do the heavy lifting, because we realize that the local democratic organs in many of these areas, or of which communities are part of, do not have the types of resources to transform the different communities. And so His Excellency the President, this is also an initiative of His Excellency the President, that we must get out there and work with residents of communities to find out what their issues are, and as much as possible help to resolve those issues.
Police are investigating an alleged theft committed on a Brazilian gold miner at the Sheriff Inn Hotel, 2nd Street, Bartica, which occurred on Monday. Police headquarters noted that Paulina de Jesus claimed he checked into the hotel and retired to bed after midnight on Sunday. However, he woke up the next morning and discovered that his passport, documents, $30,000 in cash, and 320 grams of raw gold valued at $3.2 million were missing. Police said there was no sign of forced entry to his room. Investigations are ongoing. Minister of Health Dr. Frank Anthony has sought to reassure the nation that enough vaccines are readily available for persons to receive their second dose, noting that more than 5,000 persons have received their second jab thus far. Shakima Day has her story.
In his daily COVID-19 update, Dr. Frank Anthony, the Minister of Health, reassured Guyanese that enough COVID-19 vaccines are available for those who require their second jab. The minister said that more than 5,000 persons have received their second dose, while more than 145,000 persons got their first dose. He said as well that Guyana will be procuring more vaccines, with a batch of 30,000 expected from COVAX soon.
In terms of the doses for your second dose shot, I think there have been persons who were worried that they might not get their second dose shot. But I want to assure them that we have set aside the vaccines to give them their second dose. The 3 vaccines that we are using are AstraZeneca, we're using Sinopharm, and we're using the Sputnik V. For AstraZeneca, when we got the doses, we were able to set aside half of it for the second dose. So whoever got their first dose, we have a second dose waiting for you. Similarly with the Sinopharm, whoever got their first dose, we have kept back your second dose, because literally it's the same vaccine that you're going to get as your second dose. Only thing is that between the time interval when you get your second dose, it's going to boost your immune system. So for those 2 vaccines, we have adequate second doses available. Now for those persons who have received the Sputnik V, it's actually 2 different types of vaccines. So the vaccine that you receive as your first dose is not the same one that you'll get as your second dose. You'll get a different vaccine as your second dose. And again, for those persons who have received their first dose Sputnik V, we have second doses that are already in the country and ready to be given out to those who would become eligible. So there should be no worry pertaining to where you're getting your second dose from. We already have it here. We have it in storage at the bond, the vaccine bond. And so at the appropriate time, we'll roll that out and make sure that everybody can get their second dose.
Getting the vaccines are not the issue. The difficulty lies in convincing Guyanese to take the jab, given the level of misinformation and myths being presented in the public. As such, the Health Minister urged persons once again to be wary of the information being shared, reminding that if it does not come from credible sources, it should not be taken as gospel. For the Newsroom, I am Shakima Day.
By the end of this week, engineers are expected to make a decision on whether Hunter Street, a 2-lane road, can now carry 3 lanes. It comes as enhancement works on the road, which have been ongoing for more than a year, nears completion. Kurt Campbell reports.
With the paving of Hunter Street, one of the main access roads from the East Bank corridor into Georgetown, almost complete, engineers are now exploring the possibility of adding a 3rd lane to the road. The announcement came as Minister of Public Works Juan Edgel visited the location Tuesday morning to assess the progress of the works. He said the possibility of a third lane, although yet to be confirmed, would be a great addition to assist in easing traffic congestion in the area during peak hours.
Having done the road, and because of the width that exists, we have been able to look at the possibility of putting in a third lane. And that is something that I believe once we're able to get that done, not just a third lane for turning, but a third lane for actual moving along the entire road. And that is something that my engineers are going to look at today. So Hunter Street could possibly, not conclusively, we're looking at it, Hunter Street could possibly move from being a two-lane road into being a three-lane road.
Edgel explained that the idea behind the 3 lanes would see 2 lanes of traffic leading into the city during the morning rush hour period and 2 lanes leading out of the city during the afternoon peak period.
And within a matter of days, this project will be wrapped up. And I'm happy that we're able to get this done. Reducing travel time is a big priority for this government. People must get to work and get home from work relaxed, not spending hours in traffic. So we've made adjustments.
The minister said except for the delays in getting asphalt, the road would have been completed by now. The initial contract of $86.6 million was awarded in May 2019 to Surrey Paving and Ideal Engineering for the geometric improvement of the street, which included raising the level of the road above the drains to prevent flooding and the upgrade of the sidewalks. The works were initially slated to conclude in December 2019. Edgel said with the termination of that contract and the hiring of a new contractor, Vera 66 Logistics, the ministry has been able to complete new culverts and also found a solution for a smooth connection of Hunter Street to Mandela Avenue.
When the newsroom returns, the financial, weather and bridge reports along with sport news with Avinash Ramzan. That's it for me, Fariza Hanif. Take care and stay safe.
Welcome back to Newsroom. Avinash Ramzan here with tonight's sport. We start things off with some cycling news. The Ghana Cycling Federation has announced that the Independence 3-stage cycling meet is set to make a return this month following a financial commitment from the Ministry of Culture, Youth and Sport. The event was last held in 2016 when Team Evolution's rider Ervil Hines emerged champion. Details in this report. Racing Secretary of the Ghana Cycling Federation, Malcolm Sunaram, in making the announcement on Tuesday said, and I quote, "The longest tenure stage race was cancelled since 2017 because the Ghana Cycling Federation and the traditional sponsors, the National Sports Commission, did not find common ground on the funding of the 3-decade-old fixture. The Ghana Cycling Federation is thankful that the government, through the Minister of Culture, Youth and Sport, Charles Ramson Jr., has stepped in and financed this marquee event." End quote. Sunaram added that the Federation will now await clearance from the National COVID-19 Task Force to go ahead with the event. Once that approval is granted, Sunaram informed Newsroom Sport that it is the intention of the Federation to be in full conformity with the national COVID-19 measures to ensure the safety and well-being of the cyclists and officials. He said, and I quote, "Due to our track record and adherence to the COVID-19 guidelines while executing our races, I see no issue in our permission being granted to host this event." End quote. According to the Federation, the 2021 event will be held on May 15 and 16 in Berbice and Demerara. On May 15, the race will pedal off in the ancient county of Berbice at 7 hours 30 outside the Corriverton Police Station and end the first stage at Main and Alexander Streets in New Amsterdam. On the same day, the second stage of the race will also be contested, pedaling off at 14 hours at the Rosignol Stelling and ending on Carifesta Avenue in the city. The final stage on the next day will ride off in the bauxite mining town of Linden from 7 hours 30 and conclude just outside the National Sports Commission's building on Homestretch Avenue. The 3-stage will cover an approximate distance of 171 miles. The event is usually held in observance of Guyana's independence anniversary, celebrated on May 26. Now the Hicks brothers, Andrew and David, on Sunday emerged as the leading riders in the Marcel Crawford Memorial Road Race in Berbice. Andrew carved the top prize in the 45-mile event, stopping the clock at 1 hour 57 minutes, followed closely by David. The race commenced at Sukpol gas station in New Amsterdam, turned at the number 51 police station and ended at Alnes Village. Mario Washington rode in third, followed by Seaborn Finance and Ralph Sinerain. The Hicks brothers took 5 prime prizes each. David Hicks was the leading rider of the junior category, with Washington second and Jeremiah Joseph third. Finance was the top veteran rider, and Fitzroy Tang taking second. National table tennis player Miguel Wong has qualified for the Junior Pan Am Games to be held in Cali, Colombia between September 9 and 19, 2021. The young Guyanese is keen on doing well at the Games, as we hear in this Akim Green report.
The International Table Tennis Federation revealed the prospectus for the event, and Wong's name was listed as a Caribbean representative for the men's under 21 singles. Wong's qualification came as a result of his world ranking. He is currently ranked 706 with 168 rating points. Due to the pandemic, no qualification event would be held. They were to be held in June in Costa Rica. Wong expressed his desire to attend and do well at the Games. Open quote, "Hopefully I'll get an opportunity to compete again at the international scene in Cali after roughly a year off from competition. We put in a lot of work behind the scenes and will continue to put in work towards the Games in September, whether locally or abroad." End quote. President of the Guyana Table Tennis Association, Godfrey Monroe, also confirmed Wong's qualification and said they are hoping to get one other player to attend the event.
In the absence of being able to host qualification events due to the pandemic, a lot of emphasis was placed on world ranking, and Miguel would have gotten his qualification spot based on world rank position. We're still exploring the possibility of having our other player, whom there's a possibility exists that by May 18th we'll be able to make that determination if she'll be able to be given a spot. This is Taraya Thomas, who has a world rank of 712 in the under 21 category. Our other players don't have world ranking spot because Jonathan Van Lang would only have on the under 15 and so on. And centrally the Games, this championship was using the under 18 world rank and under 21 world rank as its primary, and senior world rank as the primary basis for selecting the players. So in the absence of being able to attend qualification events, Miguel and Taraya would probably be our only 2 prospects. Well, we've got information that Miguel is qualified.
Monroe added that the GTTA will support Wong to prepare for the event, and they will reach out to the Olympic Committee to ensure he attends. The Games is a forthcoming international multi-sports event for athletes aged 18 to 21 in the Americas, organized by Pan Am Sports. For the Newsroom, Akim Green.
Now, IPL 2021 has been postponed following several positive COVID-19 cases across franchises over the past couple of days. There is no official word yet on when or whether the remainder of the tournament will be staged, though the BCCI Vice President, Rajiv Shukla, was emphatic it will happen and the decision would be taken when the pandemic situation improved. In a statement, the IPL said the decision was unanimously taken by the tournament's governing council and the BCCI. The BCCI said it does not want to compromise on the safety of the players, support staff and other participants involved in organizing the IPL, and the decision was taken keeping the safety, health and well-being of all the stakeholders in mind. Quote, "These are difficult times, especially in India, and while we have tried to bring in some positivity and cheer, it is imperative that the tournament is now suspended and everyone goes back to their families and loved ones in these trying times." End quote. The statement also said that the BCCI would do everything in its powers to arrange for the secure and safe passage of all the participants in IPL 2021. The announcement came following increasing COVID-19 positive cases within the IPL. The country has recorded more than 20 million cases and so far reported more than 222,000 deaths from the virus. The Sunrisers Hyderabad became the 3rd franchise to register cases when it was confirmed earlier on Tuesday that Riddiman Saha had tested positive for COVID-19 and was isolating from the rest of the squad. Later on Tuesday, Amit Mishra of Delhi Capitals returned a positive test. On Monday, the Kolkata Knight Riders pair Varun Chakravarti and Sandeep Warrior tested positive, and the day's match between the Kolkata Knight Riders and the Royal Challengers Bangalore in Ahmedabad was put off. Within hours came news from Delhi of 2 confirmed cases in the Chennai Super Kings camp, the bowling coach Lakshmipati Balaji and a member of their service staff. The issue now is getting players back to their respective homelands, as several countries have banned travelers from India. Football news now. The first of 3 stages in the development of Guyana's first home of football is nearing completion. This FIFA-funded project, the National Training Centre at Providence, is part of the GFF's goal to deliver significant improvements to Guyana's football infrastructure as a legacy and foundation for the future. Stage 1 includes state-of-the-art AstroTurf pitch, dormitories, gym and kitchen. Stage 2 includes floodlights, seating and a pavilion. And Stage 3 includes grounds, landscaping, parking and a food court. Find out more in this GFF video.
Work is progressing fairly steadily here. We had to revise the work program post 2020, and we seems to be on schedule for the commissioning of the center in May of this year. We are now getting around to the painting, laying of the tiles, some of the fine work. We're all very excited. We're hoping to have our first youth teams in here at the end of May or early June in preparation for CONCACAF tournaments. Well, I think this center here is going to help the GFF to achieve one of its most prestigious goals, and that is to have the #1 national team program in the region. This year alone, we've made tremendous investment in technology, national teams equipment, and the fact that we're going to be able to house our youth teams here from the under-20s all the way down, boys and girls, every weekend and for extended periods whenever we're preparing for a tournament, is going to make a tremendous impact at the rate at which those players are going to develop. What we're trying to do is increase the contact time between our players and our coaches. We're going to be putting in a state-of-the-art kitchen in the facility here, where the nutrition will be well planned by our specialists. When the kids come into camp, they will be fed very, very well. The way that the dorms have been designed is that we can ensure that when kids are here, they're protected, they're safe. The dorms will have the capacity to house as much as 36 kids, but it's very unlikely that the camp will be that big. But if for some reason we're doing a scouting event where we want to look at as many kids as possible, we'll be able to accommodate between 36 to 40 kids at any one time. This room is designated for the parent that will be part of the camp to help in supervision for the kids and also to ensure the kids are being treated properly and they're safe when they're in the care of the GFF. In this room, it is fully self-contained room. It has its own shower and its own toilet. It's going to have a little bit of a wash sink. It will have their own beds, television, air condition. So the parent who's going to be here for the week and a half is going to have all the amenities to make them comfortable. One of the key rules will be that at no time should a player be found in the parent room, and at no time should a parent or a staff be found in the player's washroom space. This is a landmark achievement not just for the Guyana Football Federation Executive Committee, but for the entire football community.
And with that, we've come to the end of the news for this evening. Of course, you can find updates on these and other stories on our website, Newsroom.gy, our Facebook page and Instagram. On behalf of the entire news team, my name is Avinash Ramzan. Thanks for watching. Be safe. See you next time.